Preservation Alaska is pleased to announce the 2024 Most Endangered Historic Properties list. This year, there are 11 historic properties instead of our usual 10. This is only the second time we have added a property to the list. These historic properties are considered the most endangered historic properties around the state. The number one endangered property is the Wolf Creek Boatworks located on Prince of Wales Island in southeast Alaska. It is in danger of being lost due to the Alaska Mental Health Trust intention of logging off over 1,500 acres of trees surrounding the facility. The congressional order giving the land to the trust requires that the historic boatworks be demolished. There are similar dangers to the other properties on this list that place them in danger of being lost forever as well. Preservation of Alaska supports saving these buildings or properties, as well as others that are endangered that were not listed. We must take care of our history. This annual list is intended to bring public awareness to Alaska's threatened historic properties. Heightened awareness often leads to increased support for the conservation of endangered historic properties, which are assets important to tourism, economic development, and the cultural heritage of Alaska. Alaska Association for Historic Preservation, now rebranded as Preservation Alaska, has been identifying the most endangered historic properties since 1991, 33 years. The full text and photographs of each nomination can be found on our website at alaskapreservation.org under the Programs tab. Regret goes only one way. The preservation of historic buildings is a one-way street. There is no chance to renovate or to save a historic site once it's gone, and we can never be certain what will be valued in the future. This reality brings to light the importance of locating and saving buildings of historic significance, because once a piece of history destroyed, it is lost forever. Wolf Creek Boatworks is located near Hollis on Prince of Wales Island in southeast Alaska. Originally called 12 Mile Arm Boat Shop, this beautiful landmark started out in 1939, building boats out of local southeast Alaska timber. For years, Israel Stevens built and sold skiffs using the same belt-driven tools that still operate inside the boathouse today. Originally powered by water from the water flume off of Wolf Creek, it was later powered by a large S. Morgan Smith Francis-style water turbine. All of the original equipment is still housed within the building, and while modern aluminum skiffs are now built in the boatworks, the building still serves the same function as it did in 1940. Since 2015 and the uncertainty of the land and no current lease or sale, Wolf Creek has ceased commercial operations and has now become a nonprofit museum. The land that Wolf Creek Boatworks sits on was involved in a land swap between the U.S. Forest Service and the State Mental Health Trust in 2019. Of the 1,544 acres set to be logged, approximately 20 acres surround the historic boathouse, powerhouse, penstock cabin, and boat rid. Since the land was transferred to Alaska Mental Health Trust in 2019, the trust has made it clear that the land will be logged entirely, and they have no interest or desire to fulfill the obligations agreed to with the preservation and protection of the historic Wolf Creek Boatworks. Although they have been offered financial compensation for the historic site or in exchange for 7 acres further down the beach, owned by Sam Romey, to continue occupying the site, the Mental Health Trust has been unwilling to waver on their decision to allow for the sale of the land that the buildings, seawall, dock, pilings, and equipment from the allotted 1,544 acres, while they log the entire mountainside. Pilgrim Hot Springs is located 60 miles north of Nome. Pilgrim Hot Springs is located on a 320-acre tract of land that was originally surveyed as a homestead in the early 1900s. The property is accessible during 3 or 4 months of the year via the Pilgrim Hot Springs Access Road, a 70-mile frontier road built in the early 1980s, which connects the property to the Cougarock Road or the Nome-Taylor Highway. A subarctic oasis located in remote northwestern Alaska, Pilgrim Hot Springs is nestled between Hen and Chicken's Hill and the Cougarock Mountain Range. The property is a lush tree oasis with an abundant geothermal resource. Pilgrim boasts hot bathing pools, warm fertile soil, and a unique history including pre-contact utilization by the indigenous population, Alaska Gold Rush history, railroads, and dog sled trails, early aviation, and military use. Its time use as a Catholic mission and orphanage for the victims of the 1918-1919 flu pandemic, agricultural use, as well as its most recent use as a recreation destination and tourist attraction. The Ascension Church of Our Lord Chapel is located at Carlick on Kodiak Island. The Ascension of Our Lord Orthodox Church was constructed in 1888 and is believed to be the second Orthodox church in Carlick, the first Russian post on the western side of Kodiak Island. The church was situated inland from the cliff's edge high above the mouth of the Carlick River and Shelikof Strait. In August 2021, the church was lifted from its foundation and moved about 80 feet inland for a temporary placement. Although the church does not currently have a resident priest, a visiting priest conducted services throughout the year prior to the move to its temporary location. Early photos illustrate the church was built above the original village. However, in 1978, the village nearly washed away during a winter storm that reshaped the mouth of the Carlick River, collapsed a bridge, and destroyed the local fuel supply. Chitina Emporium is located in Chitina. The building has a long history of being an anchor to the community, including a hotel, bar, retail store, and power heating source for the community. Originally, it had a Copper River and Northwest Railroad stern-wheelers boiler used to heat the building with lines to other buildings. Currently, the building is uninhabitable and the foundation wood posts are collapsing. The lots behind the building are wetlands. The L4 beside the building is vacant. The art gallery building and the hotel buildings have been restored and are stable. Chitina is a vital link to the St. Elias National Park and a historic location of interior coastal indigenous connections. When the railroad was operating, Chitina was a junction connecting the stagecoach and later road to the interior in Fairbanks. The building foundation posts have failed in many locations. The side of the building is bulging above the second floor ceiling joists on one side. Windows are broken. The metal roof is okay, but the access cover was open for some time, resulting in water damage to the second floor and the ceiling below. The basement is dirt and subject to flooding, which has caused many of the posts supporting the building to fail. The building is in critical condition, unsafe to be in, and needs to be quickly stabilized to avoid further damage that might make it impossible to salvage. The Hayu Stamp Mill is located outside of Fairbanks. The Hayu Stamp Mill property is a historic property approximately 20 miles northeast of Fairbanks. Situated in the hills and creeks where many other mines also thrived, the Hayu Stamp Mill remains a testament of historic underground mining in interior Alaska. On the main property is a stamp mill, a large red building built into the hillside for purposes of utilizing gravity in the milling process. There remains the two Joshua Hendy 5-stamp batteries, most of the diesel engine and generator. The jaw crusher still resides in the uppermost part of the mill. Although the property has degraded significantly and parts have fallen prey to vandalism, it is still one of the best and only surviving examples of early underground mining and milling in interior Alaska. The gold deposit that the Hayu Mill building is situated near was known as early as 1912, and in one short year an adit had been driven 450 feet. In 1914, the mine was in full production and a 5-stamp battery was moved from nearby Chatham Creek to process the precious ore. The property is owned by the Alaska Mental Health Trust. Bishop Road Chapel is located at Arctic Village. The log Bishop Row Chapel in Arctic Village is an iconic structure renowned not only in the subarctic region bordering the East Fork of the Channellar, but indeed across the state of Alaska. Built by local villagers during the post-World War II era, this extraordinary and unique chapel is the third iteration of a structure that first created by one of the founding fathers of the village, Reverend Albert Tritt, at the turn of the 20th century. For decades, the chapel, situated in the center of the village, served as a focus of social and communal activity. It was and is an homage to Gwich'in identity. The church has been renovated over the years since it ceased to be used actively in the 60s, most recently 2002 to 2005. Given its relevance and significance to Gwich'in culture and indeed to the history and heritage of Alaska as a whole. However, given the harsh conditions of the region compounded by the changing climate, a recent condition survey by New Vision Architecture in 2019 has determined that after 2 decades, the structure is again endangered and in need of additional maintenance. Unless a series of repairs are undertaken soon, the building could be lost, this time possibly for good. Bristol Bay boats located at Naknek. This historic collection of 14 wooden Bristol Bay fishing boats that demonstrates the evolution from the days of the sail that began in the 1880s to the first powerboats legally allowed to fish the waters of Bristol Bay in 1951. This unique collection features rare and one-of-a-kind boats that range from early 1900s sailboats to conversions, which are sailboats that have been converted to host gas-powered engines and retrofitted with cabins to replace the ridgepole tents formerly constructed with oilskins and wooden oars. The conversions range from those with the first small enclosed cabins and the later version with stand-up cabins. The collection also features several boats built by Bryant, which are some of the first wooden powerboats designed and built specifically for their fishery. The collection also includes some of the last models of wooden boats designed and built by American Commercial that were made in the late 1970s before wood was replaced with other construction materials. A keystone in the collection is a fully restored 1932 sailboat, Libby's Cognac, which is fully restored with sails and all the riggings, anchor, and a net. Historically, there was a village site named for that location right by the Libby Cannery, which was built on the Quejack River. The steamer Nanana is located in Fairbanks. The steamer Nanana is a 5-deck, wooden-hulled Western River-style steamer sternwheeler packet built from clear vertical grain, kiln-dried fir. The ship is a blend of steam, wood, and paddle wheel technology that is 237 feet long and weighs a total of 1,128 tons. The steamer was commissioned and built in 1932 by the Alaska Railroad. She was prefabricated in Seattle, assembled in Nanana, launched into service in 1933, and run by the Alaska Railroad. The original design contained 24 berths, a dining salon, a smoking room, an observation room, a kitchen, a bakery, and men's and women's bathrooms, along with passengers and officers' rooms with porcelain sinks and electric lights. She is located in Pioneer Park in Fairbanks. Years of neglect and deferred maintenance have brought the SS Nanana, a beautiful piece of Alaskan history, to deplorable conditions. In April 2018, the Fairbanks North Star Bureau blocked all entrances to the sternwheelers and closed off this beloved historic landmark to the public due to safety concerns. Dedicated community members organized into the nonprofit Friends of SS Nanana and had the vessel inspected by the principal naval architect of Columbia Sentinel Engineers Incorporated from Seattle during June of 2019. A report of needed repairs was generated for the group. Eldred Rock Lighthouse is located near Haines and Lynn Canal in southeast Alaska. Eldred Rock Lighthouse sits on a very small island located approximately 17 miles south of the town of Haines. The island is the last southernmost in a string of islands extending south from the Haines Peninsula. Built in 1905, Eldred Rock Lighthouse is the oldest original lighthouse in Alaska and the only remaining octagonal frame lighthouse of those built between 1902 and 1905. It is the only station not rebuilt. It was established because of the many shipwrecks nearby, especially during the 1898 gold rush when Lynn Canal was in heavy use. Eldred Rock Lighthouse has been unmanned for over 45 years, and as a result, the buildings have fallen into disrepair and are considered endangered. The primary reasons for the state of disrepair are due to environmental and logistical challenges and no agency funding to maintain the lighthouse. The extreme weather and environmental conditions greatly contribute to the rate of deterioration. Logistically, the island is very difficult and expensive to access. This makes getting resources, humans, buildings, supplies, etc. to the island very difficult. The concrete base of the lighthouse is falling and needs quite a bit of attention. Pioneer Hall is located in Ketchikan. Pioneer Hall is a two-story wood frame building on post foundations constructed over bedrock. The building footprint is approximately 1,786 square feet. It has a steep, modified hip roof with an unfinished attic. The building has been altered on all 4 elevations and in its interior. Modifications were made to its front street facade in its early years and continue to be made to visible facades along Pioneer Way. It was built on a prominent site overlooking the waterfront, and its 50-foot flagpole was a beacon for early seafarers coming to Ketchikan. As the town grew rapidly in the years that followed, many, now historic, buildings began to surround Pioneer Hall. By the late 1920s, the commanding view earlier enjoyed by the Pioneer Hall was eclipsed by the larger buildings, including the Gilmore Hotel and the City Hall. The building is situated on historic Pioneer Way, which is a stairway slash pedestrian alley connecting Front Street to Main and Grant Streets. The Sitka Indian Village is located in Sitka. The Sitka Indian Village is an 11-acre site in downtown Sitka that used to contain roughly 43 Tlingit clan houses. Clan houses are units of matrilineal lineage, not just a physical structure, but a person's hereditary. As described by Dr. Rosita Worrell, the clan house is at the center of Tlingit identity. A Tlingit is born into a clan house, and our body goes to the clan house for the final time when we leave this world. A clan house is the place for ceremony, and it is where authority for decision making derives. It is the foundation of Tlingit government. The clan house is utilized in child rearing and the teaching of clan history and tradition. It holds the songs and the crest of the clans. It is house of respect for the opposite moiety. The clan house is a community gathering place and a shelter to those who are traveling or in need. In the words of a Point House clan member, it is an integral to every part of traditional Tlingit life. In 1926, the Tlingit people petitioned for the Alaska Native Town Site Act, managed by the Bureau of Indian Affairs. Through complex titles and not aligning with Tlingit rules of inheritance, many of the clan houses have fallen into disrepair and sold to non-native families. The full text and photographs of each nomination can be found on our website at alaskapreservation.org under the Programs tab. The Most Endangered Grant Program funds hands-on preservation work on endangered properties, serving as seed money to leverage funding from other sources. One matching grant is awarded each year. The program calls attention to threatened properties to define our great state, the people that live here, and the heritage we share. The nominations for this program were submitted by individuals and organizations living throughout Alaska and vetted through the organization's review committee. Preservation Alaska is working on an endowment fund to be able to award larger grants or more than one grant each year. Donations for the grant program are welcome. This year's sponsors include New Vision Architecture, Kuchar and Construction, Northwind Architecture and Design, BBFM Engineers Incorporated, and HCA Engineering Solutions. From landmarks and icons to neighborhoods and homes, share and celebrate the places that are most important to you. Preservation Alaska thanks you, and congratulations to all those that were on the 24 list this year.